All right, let's get started. A special welcome to all the future nurses tuning in from Dr. Ramey's microbiology course at College of the Canyons. Think of this as an intelligence briefing. We're going beyond bacteria today to profile a very different kind of enemy, the eukaryotes. We're talking protozoa, fungi, and helminths, the threats you're absolutely going to face out in the field. So let's just jump right into the big question, the one you'll be asking yourself on the clinical floor. I mean, think about it. Strep throat? We hit it with a simple antibiotic. But a serious fungal infection or a parasite, that can become a massive, life-threatening challenge. Why is that? Well, the answer gets to the very core of our briefing today. The reason is, well, it's both fascinating and, honestly, a little creepy. These eukaryotic pathogens, on a cellular level, are uncomfortably similar to our own cells. This isn't like fighting a totally foreign invader. No, this is more like a civil war. We're fighting an enemy from within our own biological kingdom. And this right here really lays out the whole problem. A bacterium is simple. It's a prokaryote. It's an obvious outsider, an easy target. But a eukaryotic pathogen, it's complex. It has a nucleus, it has mitochondria, it has all these complex organelles, just like we do. So the challenge becomes crystal clear. How do you kill them without causing a ton of collateral damage to your patient? To win this fight, we can't just use brute force. We need precision, intelligence. We have to find and exploit the small, subtle differences between their cells and ours. So let's break down the intel and get to know this battlefield a little better. Look at this chart. Every single line here represents a potential target, a potential vulnerability. Now, yeah, a lot of things are shared, like our ADS ribosomes, but it's the differences that matter. For instance, a fungal cell wall has chitin, not peptidoglycan like bacteria. These little details, these are the chinks in their armor we're looking for. And here is a perfect example. Meet ergosterol. You can think of it as the Achilles heel for pretty much all fungi. See, our cells use cholesterol to keep their membranes stable. Fungi use ergosterol, and that one single difference is a game changer. It lets drugs, like the common azoles, specifically target and pop open fungal cells, causing them to leak and die, all while leaving our own cells totally alone. It's beautiful precision targeting. Okay, time to meet the hostiles. First up in our rogues gallery, the protozoa. I call them the single-celled shapeshifters. These guys are the spies and assassins of the microbial world. They're masters of disguise, infiltration, and they are incredibly versatile. Their tactics are really sophisticated. They don't have a rigid cell wall, which makes them super flexible and mobile. But maybe their most dangerous trick is their ability to form cysts. These are basically tiny, armored survival pods that can withstand anything from drying out to our own stomach acid, only to reactivate and cause infection once they're safely inside your gut. Here's a classic example you're going to see, Giardia. Your patient might be a hiker who tells you they drank from what looked like a perfectly clean mountain stream. Well, the culprit is that tough Giardia cyst, which can just hang out in cold water for months. Once it's in the gut, it hatches into the active form and causes horrible diarrhea. Understanding this is key so you can educate patients on water safety. Next on the most wanted list is one of humanity's oldest and deadliest enemies, Plasmodium, the parasite that causes malaria. Its true genius is its stealth. This thing doesn't just swim around in the blood waiting to be caught. No, it invades and hides inside our own liver cells and red blood cells, making it practically invisible to our immune system. And this complex life cycle, going from mosquito to liver to blood and back to a mosquito, is what causes those classic repeating cycles of fever and chills that are the hallmark of malaria. So for you as a nurse, this makes one piece of information absolutely critical when you're taking a patient's history. Have you recently traveled anywhere malaria is common? All right, let's move on to our next enemy faction, the fungi. Out in nature, these guys are amazing, essential decomposers. But in a compromised host, say a patient on strong antibiotics or someone who's immunocompromised, these same decomposers can become absolutely devastating pathogens. Their biology is totally unique. They've got rigid walls made of chitin, that key drug target ergosterol in their membranes, and they spread with airborne spores. But some of the most dangerous ones are what we call dimorphic. They exist as a harmless-looking mold in the environment, but once they're inhaled into a warm body, they transform into an invasive yeast. It's like a sleeper agent. Now, for all of you in California, this one is practically in your backyard. Coccidioides, the cause of valley fever. People get this just by breathing in spores that get kicked up from the dry desert soil, especially after things like dust storms or construction. It usually looks like a respiratory illness and can be easily mistaken for pneumonia, which is why asking about a patient's location and recent activities is so vital. You are going to see Candida albicans all the time. It's a normal part of our body's flora. But when broad-spectrum antibiotics wipe out all the good bacteria that keep it in check, Candida can overgrow and cause anything from oral thrush to life-threatening bloodstream infections, especially in patients who have central lines. But there's a new player on the scene that has infection control specialists everywhere on high alert: Candida auris. And the CDC is not messing around. They're straight up calling this an emerging global threat. So what's the big deal? Look at this number. Over 90% of CRS infections are resistant to at least one major antifungal drug. Some are resistant to all of them. It sticks to surfaces in hospitals for weeks, and it's an absolute nightmare for infection control. You are going to be the first line of defense against this. Okay, finally, let's profile our largest adversaries, the Helminths. We're talking about parasitic worms, and we've scaled up big time. These aren't microscopic single cells. These are complex, multicellular animals that have evolved to live inside of us. Their whole strategy is different. Unlike bacteria or viruses, adult worms don't multiply inside you. One egg becomes one worm. That's it. So their damage is physical. They can literally block your intestines, they steal your nutrients, and they cause massive inflammation as they migrate through your tissues. You will most likely run into this one in pediatrics. Pinworm. It's the most common worm infection in the US, hands down. The main symptom is intense itching, and as you can imagine, it spreads like wildfire through daycare centers and households. Your crucial intervention here is patient education, hygiene, and making sure the entire family gets treated, not just the child. And then there's the pork tapeworm, Tania solium. Now, having the adult worm in your gut is one thing, but the real danger is if you accidentally ingest the eggs. That can lead to a condition called neurocysticercosis, where the larvae form cysts in the brain. It's a major cause of adult-onset seizures worldwide. This is a direct line to your role in teaching patients about proper food safety and cooking. So, we've reviewed the intel, we've profiled these eukaryotic enemies. Now let's bring it all home. What does this mean for your mission as a future nurse working on the front lines of healthcare every day? Your mission directives are clear. You'll use that patient history to help with the diagnosis. You'll use your knowledge of these life cycles to break the chain of transmission. You will be the primary educator on prevention. And because the drugs we use to fight these things are so powerful and can have serious side effects, you are the front line for monitoring your patient's safety. And I'll leave you with this final thought. Our world is changing. With climate change and global travel, pathogens are on the move. You won't just be treating the enemies we already know. You're going to be the sentinels, the lookouts. So what new threat, what new eukaryotic enemy might you be the very first person to spot in a patient? Your knowledge is your most powerful weapon. Stay vigilant.